afternoon. Glad you could make it. We are going to start on our backs. So ease them down on your mat. Maybe you want to bring those feet wide. Just noticeably ease yourself down. Maybe notice where you're making contact with the ground. Let those feet connect with the floor. Maybe lift those toes. Set them down. Perhaps you want to let the knees drop together. Let the arms extend toward those feet. Maybe tuck the chin into your chest. And that just helps elongate your back and your neck. And just take a moment here to check in with how you're feeling. After a morning of Zooming and computering or note-taking, researching, just see what does your body feel like. Is there any cramps going on in your fingers? Are you feeling any effects from slooping forward at the desk? Just notice that. And we're just noticing it so that in our practice, when it comes to a place where we can really stretch and open those muscles, maybe we want to put a little bit more effort into, say, a back bend to help counteract the computer. Once you're aware of how your body is feeling today, bring your focus to your breath. Maybe see if you can feel where that breath is breathing. Quite often it's in the chest or the belly. But today, on our backs, can you feel your breath breathing into your back? Gradually make that inhale a little bit longer and a little bit deeper. The exhale too. And just see how that changes where you feel that oxygen going in your body. And then we're going to heel toe our feet and our legs all the way together so that our legs are still bent, but they're pressing together. And then we're going to sweep those arms up so the fingertips are pointing toward the ceiling. And then hug those shoulder blades down so that you can feel your shoulder blades sort of pressing into the mat. Maybe you want to open your eyes to see if your arms are reaching straight for the ceiling, straight elbows. And then to your own breath, I want you to inhale and reach those arms up. So you're trying to lift your shoulders off the mat and keep everything else down. And then exhale, shrug those shoulders back down to the mat. And try that a few more times to your own breath, trying to lift the shoulders off the mat, reaching those fingertips high. And then you engage those muscles, pull the shoulders down. And you may not get very far off the mat because we're trying to isolate the movement of just the shoulders. And if you choose, you can begin to sweep those arms overhead so that you're reaching up behind you, if that feels good. And then do a few more shoulder shrugs. If you have room. I'm bending my fingers right now for making little fists because my dresser's right there. So if you need to make a modification like that to be able to shrug those shoulders, please do. Then we're going to sweep those arms all the way back to being beside our body. Check in that those legs are still squeezing together. Bring your belly button into your spine, and let's lift those feet off the mat, bringing the knees into the chest. Tuck the chin into the chest and lift your head and neck off the mat. Maybe float those arms and hands. Check that your belly bends into your spine. Just a nice solid core to keep that engagement there. And then keep your left knee bent and reach your right leg away and hover it off the ground. And then we're going to switch the legs. Woo. Double check in with your belly button. Is it pulling toward the spine? Switch again. You guys got this. We're just waking up the core early. And then switch one more time. Woo. Pull both knees into the chest. Double check your belly buttons into your spine. Then slowly roll down. We're going to open those arms to a cactus or a T if you have room. Keeping those belly buttons into the spine. We're trying to keep our whole core active here. So we're going to work the side core by dropping the legs over to the right side. But this is an active twist, so keep squeezing those legs together. They're likely not going to go down to the ground. We're actively going to hold them here. So we start waking up our side core. And you might feel some shakes, and that's okay. That means we're building some muscle. Let's come back to center. Double check those legs are still squeezing together. And let's drop to the left side. Doesn't have to be far. Our goal here is to wake up our core all around our body. So not just those front abs, but the ones on the side, the core muscles in the back. And then we're going to come back to center. Drop those feet down to the mat. Bring those feet wide. And then let your knees drop to one side and then the other, like they're windshield wipers. Seeing if you can let the movement come from the hip. So not so much the knee. How does it feel different if you think, I'm going to move my hip socket? And if you're like, I don't know how to move my hip socket, just think about the hip area while you're moving the legs. And start to build that mind map for your body. Let's bring those knees back up, feet back up. Think belly button into spine, curl up your head and neck. We're going to bring those hands on the back of the legs. And if you choose, we're going to rock to seated. You can also get to seated another way. But if you want to have some fun with the rocking, we're just pretending we're kids. Belly button to spine. Make yourself start to move and begin to round the spine as you rock on the ground a few times. And then see if you can come all the way up to seated. And that part of yoga is about laughing and smiling. Okay, extend the left leg, bend the right one into your thigh. So we're sitting with one leg forward. Just take a moment, put your hands out to the side, and use them as balance as you extend your spine up towards the roof. Sitting tall and proud. Maybe you want to close your eyes for a moment. And as you inhale, picture your spine getting taller. And as you exhale, feel those sit bones anchor into the ground. Going through that cycle a few times. And then on an exhale, begin to fold at the hips. So your back stays straight and you begin to fold at the hips. Just as far as you feel a sensation on your leg. And then maybe you want to walk with those hands long and relax the neck and the head. Noticing if you feel this on the back of the thigh. And if you feel it more in the back of the knee, just micro bend your knee there. And just find that sensation of a good stretch. You're feeling the work, but you're not in any agonizing pain. You want to feel a joyful discomfort. And then take your left hand, put it in front of your left ankle. You're going to twist open so that you're coming into a side bend over your leg. So now we're stretching out these nice side muscles here. Right hip's anchoring into the ground. You're reaching with your right arm over your leg. And your torso is facing forward. Side muscle bodies are so nice to stretch out after you've been at the computer all morning. And then let's come on up. So we're sitting again, but we're going to reach the right hand behind us Fingers extended so your hand plants on the ground. Push yourself up on your shin, and you're gonna rotate into a side plank on your hand and your shin. Maybe you wanna restep that hand. You can lift the hips here. Option to stay here. Option to press your left foot into the ground, press your hand into the ground, lift the shin, and maybe, if you choose, you wanna do side plank on the feet. No pressure. You ask what is a good movement for my body. Side plank from shin or feet. And then slowly we're gonna sit back down and switch legs. So we're gonna extend the right leg, bring the left leg in, and take a moment to, again, sit tall, extending that spine, closing those eyes. And on the inhale, you let the spine grow. That breath moves between the vertebrae. And on the exhale, you feel your sit bones really ground and connect you to the earth. Just feeling those sensations for a few breath cycles. And on an exhale, begin to hinge forward at the hips. Going forward so you find your joyful discomfort sensation. That might be in the back of the thigh. It might be in the low back. And once you find your stretch, you can release the neck and the head and just let that part relax. And enjoy the stretch in the back of your leg. As we wake up our hamstrings, wake up our low back. And then move your right hand inside of your right leg. Twist your torso that your chest is facing the side of the room, and lift your arm. We're coming to a side bend on the other side. And just reminding our body that we like to move sideways too. Reaching the left hand all the way over, but also anchoring that left hip to the mat. How does that change your stretch? And then inhale, let's come up. Keep reaching that left hand behind you. Spread the fingers, push that hand into the ground. Really start to lean and push your shin into the ground and come up to a side plank on the other side. And you have the option to stay with the shin down, or to press the right foot into the ground, press the hand into the ground, and see if you can extend both legs. And remember, yoga is not about getting anything right or doing the hardest pose. Our challenge in yoga is, what is the best move for my body? What will help me build the strength and flexibility that I need? And then slowly, let's come down onto the sit bones. And we're gonna bring the soles of our feet together, knees out wide. So both of our legs are in that triangle now. And I'm taking a moment to sit tall. So your hands can be wherever they are on your legs so that you can sit up nice and tall. Maybe you wanna close those eyes again. And come back to, whenever you inhale, allow the spine to grow tall. Make space between all those little backbones. And then as you exhale, really feel your sit bones connect with the ground. So it's almost like you're stretching yourself in two different directions. You're allowing the ground to hold the bottom of your spine nice and stable. And then you're allowing the space above your head to give you room to extend your spine even taller, to grow. And that can feel so nice after slouching at the computer, just to sit tall and breathe. And then on an exhale, if you choose, you can be able to hinge at the hips, moving forward, only as far as you begin to feel that sensation of stretch for you, the good sensation of stretch. If you move into agony, pull back. And then once you find your place, you can allow the neck and head to hang. And feel your breath move through your body while you're in this shape. Where do you feel that breath expanding? And then we're going to walk those hands back up so we can sit up nice and tall. And we're going to flip on over to tabletop. So really take a moment to spread out those fingers, index fingers forward, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. And then we're going to drop the belly down, raise the sit bones up, bring chest through and gaze up into our cow pose. This is a little back bend. Really lift those sit bones. And then begin to push the ground away and arch your back up like a cat. So you're pulling your pelvis bones in, you're arching your back up and then dropping your head and neck. Embracing that black cat feeling. And then to your own speed, whether you want it to be slow or fast, today we're going to move between a few of these cow poses with the belly down and the cat poses. And when I do my cat and cow, I really like to see if I can feel all my little back bones moving independently. And I'm guessing I made some of you laugh there thinking, I feel my back moving in two places. It goes clunk, clunk. And when I started, that was about where I was. Now I think maybe I can feel 6 little places where it gets stuck. So it's always fun to track your progress. If you have that goal of can I move all my little bones independently in my back, and to see if you can smooth out that transition from the back arch in one direction to the back arch in the other direction. And then we'll come into a neutral spine again. We're going to go back to trying that side plank. So take your right knee, lift your foot, and pivot the shin so it's sideways on the mat. Leaning into your right hand as you come on up onto that shin and arm. Reaching that hand up. You can also reach that hand over. We check out the differences there. And you can choose to lift this leg if you choose. So slightly different side plank. Pushing the ground away. We're stabilizing and strengthening our rotator cuffs here. And then you can bring that foot down and come back to tabletop. And we'll switch sides. I like to lift my left foot, rotate my knee so my shin is sideways. Lean onto the hand and the shin as you come on up. Take a moment to find balance and either reach high with your arm or reach over. What does your body want today? And then perhaps you want to lift the foot off the ground. Flexing that foot to give it a little bit of awareness that it's there. And then we're going to set the foot down, come back to tabletop. Tuck those toes, spread those fingers, push the front of the mat away and see if you can hover the knees. And then maybe you want to lift your hips and come into a version of down dog. My knees like to stay really bent at first, especially after sitting. And then I'm just really bending one a little bit more than the other, walking it out, moving the hips and the legs, which can feel really nice if you've been in one place all morning. And then find some stillness in your down dog. So spreading those fingers, pushing the front of the mat away, lifting the hips, and thinking about the heels yearning toward the floor. And then inhale, look forward, and then we're gonna float forward into a plank from the toes. Be adjusting the hands, or you can find your plank from the knees. Think about pushing the knuckles into the ground, pushing the ground away, belly button to spine, and then slowly lower all the way down to the belly. Walk those feet wide. We're gonna bring the elbows under the shoulders, coming into Sphinx. So those forearms are on the ground, really pushing the ground away. But while you're doing that, you're thinking of letting your thighs relax, your legs relax. And then as you inhale, can you extend your spine? It isn't a back bend, so it's a little bit of a different sensation than when you sit tall. But can you still think about growing your spine? Maybe think about putting your fingertips into the mat, and it's almost like you're pulling yourself forward as you lift the chest. Maybe thinking of one thing about this back extension that you like. Because sometimes back bends, they feel a little strange. So it's something interesting that you like about this feeling. And then let's slowly come all the way down to the belly. Hands by the chest, tuck the toes, press into the hands and the knees, and come up to plank on the knees. Find your down dog just for a moment. Really think about lifting those hips. Gaze forward. Keep those hips high, and we're going to walk the feet to the front of the mat. Bend the knees and come into a forward fold. And maybe you really want to bend those knees so your belly can touch your thighs. Let your head and neck relax. And from here, think about raising your hips up. And maybe that moves your legs a little more in bend, but think about that motion coming from the hips. Checking that your head and neck's relaxed. Take a few breaths. Really feel your feet connect with the ground. Really push your feet into the ground as you sweep those hands forward and you push yourself all the way up so that you're reaching your hands to the sky. And then you can bring those hands back down along your body. Roll those shoulders back. And just take a moment to stand tall and appreciate your mountain pose. Rechecking in with your body. Maybe noticing how your spine feels partway through practice today. And then sweep your arms up all the way. Forward fold, hinging at the hips. Coming to a half lift, hands on shins. Really extend that spine into your 7. And then forward fold. Bending the knees, planting the hands. Let's step back with the right foot, tucking the toes. And we've been doing this with the leg down the last few weeks, so feeling free to find your lunge with the leg down. If you'd like to try this with the leg up this week, feeling free. You get to choose. Inhale those arms up nice and high. Inhale, extend the spine. And exhale, rotate towards your front leg. And then let's bring those arms down. So we're coming into our twisty lunge with a nice extended spine. And balance here can be a challenge. So if you're wobbling, embrace that. If you're really wobbling, try and expand your width of your lunge, moving your feet out from each other a little bit, and then coming back in to find your twist. And then we're going to slowly unwind, bringing those arms up. Bring the hands down. And then stepping back to plank from toes or plank from knees. You get to choose. And then stepping forward with the right foot to lunge on the other side. Same knee as the one you just took. We're going to keep it symmetrical. Inhale those arms up. And relax. Inhale, straighten your spine. And then twist over toward the front leg. Bringing your arms across your body with the left hand and reaching back with the right hand. Finding your twisty lunge. Think about pushing your front foot and your back toes into the ground. Appreciating the wobble because it's making you practice balancing, which helps you react to that ice. And then we're going to untwist. Bringing those hands down. And stepping back to your plank from toes or knees. And then we're slowly going to lower all the way down to the mat. Walking those feet wide, elbows under shoulders, coming back to your Sphinx. So again, checking in, seeing if you can relax your legs and your thighs on the mat. And then think about lifting and extending your spine. Nice and proud. This one I really do think of that Sphinx statue in Egypt. It's tall, it's proud, trying to embody that nice feeling with the spine. And then we're slowly going to come on down to the mat. Hands by your chest, tuck the toes. Get ready, and we're going to push on up to plank from the knees. And then find your down dog. Spreading the fingers, pushing the front of the mat away, lifting the hips. And then looking forward, keeping those hips high. Let's walk those feet to the front of the mat. Or as close to the hands as you can get them. Bend your knees, forward fold. Relax that head and neck, maybe shake it out a little bit. Maybe check in with that jaw. If there's any clenching there, just let those teeth come apart. Push your feet into the ground, sweep those hands forward and up as you come to stand, reaching high. Woo. Rock back there on my heels. Let's bring those hands down. Bring your arms by your sides. Maybe you want to roll those shoulders again a few times. And then close your eyes. Check on in. Maybe with your spine, we've worked on that extension. But maybe you also want to check in with your legs after those lunges. How are we feeling? Then open the eyes, step back with the left foot, and then I'll turn into the side of my mat to face you, but you don't have to go to the side of your mat. We're gonna find our tree pose. So feet a little bit wider than the hips, standing tall. Take a moment to lift those toes and set them down. And then begin to lean into your left leg. So your right leg gets light. Opening your hip and bringing your toes to the mat. And your heel presses into your left leg just above your ankle. So this is your first tree. Hands can be on hips. You can also pick up that foot and press the foot into your calf. Hinge your calf into your foot. Or maybe you want to bring your foot above your knee. You can do that as well. Let's bring those hands to heart center. And check in that your hands are pressing together just as hard as your foot and your shin are pressing together. We're trying to make one solid shape. And if you choose, you can reach those hands nice and high. Maybe keeping the hands together or opening them up wide, gripping branches. And if you wobble, if you fall out, just slowly try and get back in, no rush. And see if you can embrace the stillness of the tree. Or maybe you're embracing the wind of the air. You're working on that balance. And then take that right foot and unbend it so the foot's coming out to the side. Maybe you want to lean over into a nice wind-blown tree or a sideways star. Feel how that balance changes, how the foot starts maybe moving around on the mat. And then let's come on up. You got this. You can bring both feet down, bring your arms down, shake out the legs. And then let's move a little bit in our balance poses. Because when we need our balance in life, we're usually flailing all over. So I think the movement helps us embrace that part of balance practice. All right, standing tall. Lift those toes. Set them down. Begin to lean the weight into your right leg so your left leg gets heavy, light, left leg gets light. And then find your tree option. Toes on the ground, heel above the ankle, foot into the shin, shin into the foot, or I guess it's sideways calf, or above the knee. Finding your option. There are 10 screens today, so we probably have 10 different options if people's screens were on. And then we're gonna find those hands at heart center. Checking that your hands, I'm wobbling all over today. Checking that your hands are pushing together just as much as your foot and your side of your calf are pushing together. Finding one solid shape. Embracing the wobble. I'm embracing my wobble today. And then when you're ready, begin to extend those arms up high. Finding your nice solid tree. Embracing those roots of the foot. Or perhaps you're embracing the movement of the wind and the joy of finding balance today. Our balance changes based on what we eat, based on how much we sleep. So many things come into that. So wherever you are today, just embracing that. And then releasing the foot, letting it point out to the side. Begin to lean into your wind-blown tree, your little side star. And then slowly come on up and let the foot come down. Let those arms come down. We're gonna roll the shoulders. And then coming to the front of the mat, standing tall. We're gonna reach those arms out front, almost like they're zombie arms. And then come up onto the balls of your feet. Sort of like the tiptoes, but make sure there's still some feet there. And then have fun with beginning to bend at the knees and coming down into a toe stand. And you can stop at whatever level of toe stand you want. So if you stay up high, you're really working your thigh muscles. If you drop down lower, you're coming more into passive flexibility. And still balance all the way around. Embracing that wobble, feeling the shake of the muscles. And slowly let's come on down. Come on to our seat. Reach those hands behind the hips. Fingertips are still facing your toes. We're going to extend the spine nice and long. Bring those feet together. Belly button into spine. So here you're in a spinal extension. You're stretching your wrists and you're engaging your core. You can choose to stay here. Maybe you really want to squeeze those legs, lean back, and balance with the feet off the ground. Still extending that spine long. Perhaps you want to release a hand and reach forward, and then another one. Playing with that balance in boat. Belly button to spine, extend the spine long. And maybe you want to extend those legs a little bit. If you start to curve to extend the legs, then I want you to bend the knees again and just reach the spine long. Embrace this little boat. And then we're gonna bring the feet down, the hands down, walk those feet wide. We're gonna do a few windshield wipers, just like the beginning of class. And again, checking in, can you make the movement come from the hips? How does that feel different than just letting the knees drop? And then we're gonna walk those feet in so they're about hip width apart. Hands stay behind our hips. We're gonna push our feet and hands into the ground to lift the butt off the mat. And then using those glute muscles, begin to raise the hips up high into reverse tabletop. Really pushing the ground away with your feet and your hands. And if you don't get to the tabletop height, there are so many muscles that go into this. I really had to work my arm flexibility to get here. So wherever you are, embrace where you are, push your feet and hands into the ground, squeeze those butt muscles, and slowly come down. And then mindfully coming onto your forearms as you slowly come onto your back. Knees are still bent. And those knees are still, those feet are still about hip width apart. Arms are down long by the body. We're gonna get ready for bridge. So pushing your feet and your hands into the ground, engaging those butt muscles, begin to lift your butt, your hips, your back off the mat. Maybe your chest comes closer to your chin. And you're staring right up at the ceiling. And really push the feet into the ground. Squeeze the butt to lift the hips. Maybe you also want to push the arms into the ground as well. And then check in with that breath. Can you breathe here? Inhaling deep. Exhaling long. And then on your next long exhale, I want you to slowly lower your upper back, your mid back, your low back, and then your butt comes down. And take a moment to just feel your back on the ground after that bridge. Does it feel like your back is touching more on the ground, less than before? Then let's try that one more time. So push your feet into the ground, push your arms into the ground, squeeze your butt muscles, and let's lift your butt, your hips, low back, mid back. Chest comes toward the chin. Checking in with the muscles and the engagement. Really lifting those hips high. Finding your breath. And then we're slowly going to lower the upper back, the mid back, the low back, and the butt all the way down. And then we're going to bring the soles of the feet together, knees out wide. Bring the hands to the belly. And taking a few minutes here to feel how your deep, long breath can make that beautiful balloon in your belly. So as you inhale, you feel your stomach grow. And as you exhale, you let that balloon deflate and you feel your stomach come back down. Doing those a few more to your own breath speed. But I also challenge you to extend them. See how long you can make those balloon breaths over time. And then we're going to bring the hands to the outside of the legs, bring the legs together. We're going to bring both knees into the chest, similar to the beginning of class. But you don't have to worry about the belly button anymore. You don't have to worry about the core engagement. We're going to do more passive stretching here. So wrap your hands around your right shin and either put your left foot back on the ground, or maybe you want to extend your leg all the way, letting the heel touch the ground. So while the first time we were in this similar position at the start of class, we were really engaged. We were trying to use our core to keep our legs up and our leg in. This time, we're working the flexibility. So we're allowing our hands to help that hip stretch. Then ask yourself, can you do maybe about 5% less work with the arms? Can you let go of some of that work? And maybe focus on where you feel this stretch in your body. And not just the loudest stretching sound, but is there a second or third area of your body where you feel this in a different way? And then we're going to bring the left knee back into the chest. Bring the arms around the left shin and either set the right foot down on the mat or extend the right leg out long, letting the leg and the heel rest on the mat. And ask yourself, how can I do 5% less work with the arms? Just experiment with how relaxed can you make this one be. We did the core work already, that's all done. Now we just want to work on the flexibility, calming our bodies down. Just begin to rest and restore for the afternoon. And then you can bring the right leg back into the chest. Open those arms to cactus arms. And then we're going to let those legs drop down to one side. And this is a relaxed twist this time, so the legs can separate. The shoulder can float. And just see if you can relaxingly, no engagement from the core this time, just focus on the stretch. Maybe you want to turn your head to look the opposite way. Just observe how this side twist feels different than the engaged one at the beginning. They're both equally good for you in two different ways. So we get to do them both. Then bringing the gaze back to center, the legs back to center. Let's let those legs fall the opposite direction. And the neck can roll to the other side if that feels good. Just letting this twist be however it wants to be. Just noticing maybe where you feel the breath in this twist. And then we'll let the legs come back to center, gaze to center. Walking out those legs long, heels to the corner of the mat. Sweeping those arms alongside your body. Maybe tucking your chin into your chest as you let the head sit back down. Take a great big breath through your nose. And exhale through your mouth. Letting your whole body just release onto the mat. And try that one more time. Nice deep breath through your nose. And as you exhale through your mouth, let everything just release into the ground. We're just going to give you a little bit of time here to begin to let your body rest and restore. We did a lot of strength in our side planks today. We did a lot of core activation and core strengthening, not just in the front of the core, but in the sides and in the back. And yoga is a beautiful part, beautiful exercise in terms of it strengthens, it stretches, it lets your body connect with your breath, makes you feel like one whole complete thing instead of all of these scatterednesses all around you. And so part of this last pose that we do really is about bringing the body and the mind and the breath all together so that you might feel a little bit more ready to move into the next part of your day. I'm going to end with a little saying that I love right now. Life is amazing, and then it is awful, and then it's amazing again. And in between the amazing and the awful, it's ordinary and mundane and routine. Breathe in the amazing, hold on through the awful, and relax and exhale during the ordinary. So if you have a few more minutes of your lunch, feel free to stay and rest a little longer. If you need to begin to move, just start wiggling those fingers and those toes, letting your neck move side to side, nice and slow. Bend one knee and plant a foot on the mat, and then the other one. Raising those arms up overhead, then rolling over onto your side body. Just stay here for a moment. And I want you to think of one thing today that you are grateful for. Anything else. And then slowly push that top hand into the mat and come up to a nice tall seat. Close those eyes. Feel those sit bones ground and the spine grow tall. And take a moment to feel how today's practice affected your body. Change the space between your thoughts. And bringing those hands to heart center, we're going to inhale through the nose. And exhale long through the mouth. Letting all that air go, the whole practice go. It is done.